I'm Austin Ilsley.
And I'm Lacey Ilsley. We're the owners of AI Painting Plus in Columbia, Missouri.
We do residential repaints, interior, exterior. We also do light commercial, interior, exterior. We like to say we're Columbia's premier customer service and people development company that just happens to paint houses really well. Yeah, so whenever you're talking about the level of prep that goes into these historic repaints, ultimately what it comes down to is the client's budget. So, man, there's so many awesome people in the industry that I see doing amazing work. They may be in a higher price margin than we are in our service area. You know, ideally, you'd strip everything down to bare wood, prime it, prep it, and paint it. In our case, our clients are typically on more of a budget than that, so it doesn't really warrant doing a full scrape sand. So all we do mostly is scrape any loose paint that is flaking off. And if the paint's not flaking off, we assume that it's still adhered, and then we prime the bare spots that do scrape off. So when you're doing these historic renovations, you really have to be conscious of lead-based paint being present on the site. It can really pose a danger to yourself, to your family, to your pets, and there are guidelines to follow as per the EPA that you should really go take the course, get certified in lead-based paint renovations before you even attempt to do it. Anytime a home is built before 1978, you should always test for lead. And if it does test positive, you need to follow the protocols in order to protect the homeowners, protect yourself, again, protect your family. So specifically on our historic repaints that we do, you're dealing with coatings that are honestly sometimes 100 years old. You can kind of infer on what coatings might have been used, but for the most part, you really just don't know. So you're gonna want something that's more of a universal bonding primer that's also gonna have good qualities of tannin bleeds, because you're gonna be scraping, sanding, removing a lot of the coating that's on there, and it's gonna get down to bare substrate, which pretty much is always wood. And again, that wood could be 100 years old. That wood is gonna have tannins in it. It's gonna have maybe some mildew deep into the grain, maybe some mold. You're gonna wanna encapsulate that surface so none of that stuff leaches to the surface after your top coat is applied, essentially. For that, we use an oil-based primer. Zinsser Cover Stain is actually one of our favorite primers to use for exterior applications specifically. It does a really great job of sealing in the tannins, locking in any mold, mildew kind of stains, or just so deep in the wood or the substrate that amount of power washing can get them out. Usually it only takes one application and the stains are pretty much sealed in. And also adheres really well to like pretty much everything that we put it on. You can actually use it as an adhesion primer too, to promote adhesion on any kind of a difficult substrate, even like vinyl. We could oil prime vinyl and our paint would stick to it better. So one of our favorites, it really is. It's really important to somehow have a hand application involved. Obviously, we all love spraying. We all love the efficiency that spraying offers. But oftentimes when we spray a substrate, the coating just sits on the surface. And when you're dealing with a substrate like wood that's very porous, it's really important to work it in with a brush or a roller to really seal the pores of the wood to where it gets down into to where there's nowhere for those tannins to escape. After you apply the first coat of primer though, you have to wait for it to dry. Let it dry, just wait and see if there's any tannins coming back to the surface, and then you might have to repeat it. If you're looking for more of a fine finished product, you can definitely sand in between coats. Obviously, you can sand because every time you sand in between coats, the primer is going to raise the grains of the wood. As soon as the primer enters the wood, it's going to raise the grains and it's going to give it a rough feeling. If you're wanting to go with more of a fine finish, you can always sand in between coats to knock those grains down and rinse and repeat as many times as you need until you achieve the desired level of blocking that you're looking for or the desired level of smoothness, either way.